Hey guys, Sundown Rider here. This is going to be my chapter review to Nanatsu no Taizai 233 damage. Now, before we get on, before we continue, I just want to quickly say Eid Mubarak to everyone who's celebrating Eid al-Adha today, and for everybody that's not, I hope you've had a good day. So let's just continue. So Nanatsu no Taizai 233, or the Seven Deadly Sins 233 damage. Now, this chapter I thought was pretty good. We got to see a progression in a few things. First, we got to see Ban finally realizing. I think it was playing on his mind. It's been playing on his mind for a while, but Elaine kind of reads his mind and lets the readers know that Ban is actually acknowledging the fact, and he's understood the fact, and he's it's not. I think he's been thinking about it for a while, but he's finally come to terms with the fact that shit, I'm weaker than everybody else. I can't do anything in terms of whether we're fighting against enemies or even stop Meliodas in the least, or just stop him a little bit. He couldn't do anything. So we get to see Bond kind of not really figure that out, but mull that over. We then get to see a progression in the actual after effects of the fight between Meliodas and Escanor, and a little bit of. I was a little bit shocked about what happened. I was like, "Yo, okay, that's pretty cool." And then we get to see a progression in the plan to going to Camelot. So let's go through the chapter. So first off, the dimensional distortion is down due to Melisula's magic being wiped. Now that was cool and everything. I assume you've all read the chapter. That's not news to you. But the only thing that was I was like, why didn't that happen? Was if Melisula's magic has been wiped, then why hasn't Elaine why hasn't she died again? Now I assume this is because Elaine has been brought back to life because of Melisula's commandment, and so long as Melisula is actually alive, even if her magic's wiped, so long as she's alive, her commandment is still in effect, so Elaine will still remain alive. So once again, Melisula is alive, her commandment's still in effect, and Elaine will remain alive indefinitely until Melisula actually dies, or her commandments like recall or something like that. So we also get to see Merlin forbidding, well, more or less forbidding Elizabeth from healing Meliodas, which was a good thing. Good job from Merlin there. Merlin seems to be the one that has her head on and is intelligently figuring out what to do next. And it was a good thing that she didn't allow Elizabeth to heal Meliodas, because as soon as that guy woke up, we see later on in this chapter, as soon as he woke up, he was gonna kick the shit out of everyone there. He was ready for round 2, and he was gonna go at it. So it's a good thing that he wasn't being healed at all. And the fact is, he was healing himself with his demonic energies anyway, of that demonic plasma. He was healing himself all the way through. So it was slowly healing him anyway. Now there was one part of the chapter I was actually really confused with, which was the part where Escanor gets aggravated with Diane, and I was like, "What? Why is he so aggy here?" I didn't get it. Was it because he says that she said something foolish? Was it because he expected her comment to be common knowledge, i.e., Escanor is the strongest man alive? Was it because she said the strongest man alive and not the strongest being alive? Or was it because he disagrees with her comment? Now, I doubt it's because he disagrees with her comment. He's too proud to ever say that someone else is stronger than him. But then it must be because he expected her comment to be common knowledge, which kind of fits in with what type of character he is. So I assume that's what he was going for. But the joke kind of flew over my head a bit, and I was just like, I didn't really get it. And then we find out that Escanor has actually sustained way more damage than we originally thought. I'll get onto that in a bit. But he basically takes a little bit of a hook from Merlin to the chest, and Escanor's a huge guy. A touch from Merlin shouldn't do jack shit to him, and he just flops on the floor and gets knocked out. So he was basically just willing himself to carry on walking, all because I assume Merlin was there and he didn't want to fall flat on his face in front of Merlin. So he was just like basically balling up and not falling flat on the floor just by sheer willpower, because he was out on his feet basically. And then we come back to my boy Ban. I said before, he was kind of mulling over his weakness in this chapter. So this chapter for him was, he was just feeling the guilt of not being able to do anything. Basically, the price of being weak, the price of weakness. But all the way throughout this chapter, when Merlin says that King and Diane and Gauther are going to be the ones that are going to have to kind of maintain the front line against the commandments and all the demons and stuff, while Merlin, Elizabeth, and Meliodas are inside recovering alongside Escanor. And she's like, "Oh yeah, King Diane and Gauthie, you're our only hopes of sustaining kind of a front line." And I was like, "Bitch, you missed out, Ban." But she did it on purpose. She did it by purpose because Ban's too weak. So all of these things are putting Ban down and showing him up as a scrub and everything like that. But for me, all of this is suggesting that when he gets a power up, it's gonna be a dirty power up. It's gonna be a dirty power up, and he's gonna get it with obviously his sacred treasure, which is called Kureshus. Yeah, Kureshus. I'm not sure if that's meant to be French, but the Roman G for it is Kureshus. So yeah, I have a feeling when Ban gets his power up, it's gonna be dirty as hell. Escanor, we find out, like I said before, he sustained a lot of damage. The actual number is he suffered 98% damage. So if we assume this is like Pokemon and he has a health bar, he suffered 98% damage, fam. We find out a little bit more about his actual, I was going to say quirk, his power, his magic. Sunshine is basically like a battery. So what I assume from this chapter, what it was saying was, Escanor stores power until so he gradually increases in power, but while he's increasing in power and stuff like that, as the hours tick closer to noon, he's also storing power, and he's storing power all the way throughout the day. And I think what it is he stores power until he needs to utilize it, maybe as the one. So the only time he actually fully emits all this power and like actually utilizes that power is if he has to go into that one form where he burns through that energy. So like I said, when he does go into the one form, he burns through that energy, and then he needs to build it up again. Now, considering how many he was only in that one form for like 10-15 seconds maybe, and he burnt through years of energy. Supposedly, that's what Merlin says. So if that form took years to build up, if in that stage it took years to build up, he won't be able to take someone at Meliodas' assault form level out again for a while, because that took years to build up. Now, Meliodas, however, was at 78% damage in this chapter. So whereas Escanor was at 98% damage, Meliodas was at 78% damage. That's not a win or a loss for either of them. Escanor won that fight, okay? Let's just get that crystal clear. However, Meliodas, in this chapter, it was said that his emotions have been stolen away, and now he's regressing to the Meliodas of old. I.e., he hasn't fully regressed, i.e., he's getting stronger. Now, hear me out here. A lot of people say, I saw someone on the Reddit saying that he hasn't fully regressed and he's not going to get stronger because his cruelty and his strength are already above what his prime form as the leader of the commandments was back then, 3,000 years ago. So if he's already more cruel and stronger than he was back then at this form, and he's currently regressing, then technically he should only get weaker. Now, literally, that guy would be right. He should only get weaker. But that's not something Merlin would bring up. If he was gonna get weaker, Merlin would have been laughing her ass off, like, yeah, we're good. Meliodas is just gonna get weaker from now on. Yeah, so I don't think Merlin would have brought up a point like that. Oh yeah, he's just gonna get weaker. We're fine. She brought it up because he's going to get stronger, even though his strength and cruelty currently exceeds his form 3,000 years ago. Like I said, Merlin wouldn't be bringing this up if reverting to his old form was going to lessen his cruelty and his strength. In other words, his regression is only an issue because he's going to get stronger as he regresses. And he's already stronger now than he was as the Meliodas of old, as the leader of the Ten Commandments. So he's stronger now than he ever was. But Merlin is basing this off of the amount. I assume Merlin is basing this off of the amount of time he spent robbed of his emotions. So this is what I'm thinking. I assume she's made assumptions on how fast he should gain strength and cruelty in proportion to how fast he should be regressing to his original commandment form. Now there must be some sort of telltale sign that she knows, like this is the point where he's reached his pinnacle. Well, not his pinnacle. This is the point where he's reached his original form, and then his power will obviously be beyond his pinnacle because he's already above that anyway. So he's just going to carry on getting stronger, which is a scary thing considering he was already kicking the shit out of a prime Escanor before he became the one. So it's a really, really difficult situation for these guys, because if Meliodas gets to that point, there's going to be no one to stop him, and Escanor has already juiced out his form as the one, and he doesn't have enough time to build up that power again to kick the shit out of Meliodas. So they need to find a way to stop his regressing, which is what actually comes on later. So Merlin puts down Meliodas. He wakes up, and I was laughing my ass off because Merlin put down both Escanor and Meliodas in one chapter. I was like, yo. So everyone's like just making a joke like, oh, Merlin for the strongest sin and all that. Like I mentioned before, Meliodas' wounds have healed. But then we have Merlin, Elizabeth, and Meliodas locked. Merlin locks them all within the perfect cube in an attempt to prevent Meliodas' full regression. Now, I'm not sure exactly how they'll do this. Elizabeth seems to have the most knowledge in terms of doing this. She says something along the lines of, I'm not sure if I'll be able to stop him if he fully regresses, but I'll try and stop him from getting to that point. So Merlin's going to aid in that. I assume they're going to do something alongside what that resembles what the Druids did. They're going to try and take away some of his power, or put some sort of shackle on him, put some sort of lock on his power. But then again, that would also limit how effective he would be against the commandments. So it's gonna be a carefully done thing, and it's gonna take some tinkering. But obviously, Nakaba knows what he's doing. So then, actually, in regards to the plan, it'll take 2 days to reach Camelot, according to Merlin, wherein Escanor will be recovering inside the boar's hat. During these 2 days, King Diana and Gautha have been tasked with safeguarding everything, Bon not included. I was like, oh, my boy, fam. So yeah, it'll take 2 days to reach Camelot. So basically, once they reach Camelot, Elizabeth's only got 24 hours in which to get rid of as many commandments as they can, or if they're trying to get rid of commandments, get rid of them, to save Arthur from whatever he's being contained by, or to rescue Arthur from anything that's stopping him getting out of Camelot, and from doing everything else, and from freeing the people of Camelot from the evil clutches of the commandments. So within 24 hours, she's got a huge amount of stuff resting on the shoulders of the rest of the sins for her to make it out alive, because we don't even know if them defeating the commandments will do anything for Elizabeth. She's basically just got 24 hours after the 2 days to try and sort shit out. Maybe that she'll try and sort shit out while she's in the perfect queue. So actually, a point people were making was, why didn't Elizabeth just heal up Escanor instead of Meliodas, considering he was going through self-healing? Now, it would have been a good idea, actually. I'm not sure if Nakaba thought of this, but Merlin seems to have been fine with putting down Meliodas. He was out for the count. Then perfect cube him. And if Elizabeth was thinking rationally, which obviously she's not, she would have tried to heal Escanor, recharge his ass. Obviously, she wouldn't be able to rebuild his all that charge that he sustained over the years, but she would be able to heal him and try and get him back to like a more vital, a more full of life state than he is right now. So yeah, I don't know why she didn't really do that, but obviously she doesn't seem to be thinking too rationally, and everything was happening kind of real fast. Meliodas woke up and all that shit. So then right at the end, we see Arthur turn up in Camelot right next to Orlandi, which was that eyeball thing that was Merlin's slave, basically. And he's alive and well. He's just chilling. So my question is, what's he been doing all this time? His pet cat thing is now in his cape pocket thing, and it seems to have grown. Does that indicate some sort of growth in Arthur himself? Do they grow alongside each other? And how has he survived in a demon-ridden Camelot for however long it's been? I don't know. So let me know what you guys thought of this chapter. I thought it was good. I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. Let me know what you guys think. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I will see you guys in a bit.